it's time for our guest speaker for today. Jim Dorsey has got a tremendous story to tell us. He has a great attitude. We'll find out why that's arrived.
Thank you, Paul. First, I want to congratulate all the award winners and volunteers. That's absolutely terrific. Okay, I want to congratulate all the award winners and the volunteers. It's terrific. Everybody gives back. And I want to thank my family for being here today. My two sisters, Michelle and Barbara, and my son and daughter. My son ran a little track. My daughter was a great softball player. She was actually the most valuable player in the Delaware Blue Gold game when she was in high school. And they retired at 37. so now you know what you have to look forward to. First of all, I'm going to give you a short summary of, I've been playing sports my whole life. Never smoked. I had a few beers once in a while, but I really try to take care of myself. So in March of 2013, went into the doctor's office to get cold medicine. I said, you know, I feel pretty good. I just finished the tournament down in Pompano, and Gino was there. We had a pretty good tournament. I noticed I was getting a little tired towards the end of the tournament, a little bit unusual. So I went in and went to the doctor, and I went into the doctor, and I said, how you feeling? He said, fine. I said, why are you here? I said, just to get some cold medicine in case I catch a cold. Do you have anything wrong with you? And I was bragging how healthy I was. Oh, I can play basketball, I play softball, I feel terrific. You have nothing wrong with you? I said, no, not at all. It's just once in a while I have trouble swallowing. Just once you get it checked. I said, fine. So that's when I got the shock of my life, when they found that I had esophagus cancer. This gets a little emotional sometimes, but what happened, I had a tumor in the bottom of my esophagus, top of my stomach. A week later, literally a week later, I was getting chemo and radiation. I had chemo and radiation, and then they said, after that, if you qualify, you might be able to have surgery. So I did the weeks of, about almost 2 months of radiation and chemo. Came back to Delaware, because the surgery was scheduled for about 2 months later. And I wasn't really looking forward to that, but I went and tried to play a little softball. And that's probably, this little talk I'm going to give has some highs and lows, some funny moments and some sad moments. The lowest point I got is when I went to try to play. I got done chemo, I felt okay. But when I hit the ball, I ran to first base, and I collapsed. I sat under a tree. I said, you know what? I can't go down like this. So it's not going to happen. So I went back, had the surgery. I had, first of all, I researched the surgery quite extensively. I made sure that I had the best doctors I could get. Dr. Tim Williams was my radiation doctor. Dr. Teresa DeCesar was my oncologist. And I had one of the finest surgeons in the country, Dr. Alan Livingston, who literally saved my life. And then it's time to recover. And that's where I started to get a positive attitude. But before I had this surgery, I had to go into a room to get staged. They tell you what degree of surgery you might have, or what type of cancer you might have. And I was in a room with a 55-year-old, 45-year-old. I was in the middle. All three of us were in a room together. Two of the guys, one of the guys to my left who was 50, he had pancreatic cancer. He was 55. And the guy on my right was 45, had pancreatic cancer, and he had a 13-year-old son. At that time, I had a 13-year-old grandson. I'm back home to my wife, Karen, who was like a rock during all of this. I said to my wife, I said, look, I've been lucky my whole life. I've never been sick. I played sports my whole life. I thought I was in great shape, but it's my turn to battle cancer, and I'm going to do it. So what happened after that was basically my family, my doctor teams, my softball teams, my basketball teams. I said the word teams. They were all vital to me. Gino, he called me practically once a week my softball managers called me after every game. I went from player to general manager. They kept me involved. When I would get my chemotherapy, I would have WIP on the radio, and I was texting my friends. I stayed in my own world. And I think that is vital, to stay active, stay busy, and not give up. You just can't give up. And my wife, what she did, before the surgery, she made me get real fat. She just fed me and fed me. She said, you gotta be strong when you go through surgery. So anyone who has thinking that they're gonna have surgery, know they'll have someone to have surgery, you need to be pretty strong to get through that surgery. It's quite, I was in surgery for 5 hours. And it was, but there's some humor in all this too. One of my real good friends down in Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, I'm sorry, Ron Smith, has just lost his father-in-law earlier. And he had heard about my problem, and he was very upset. But about a week later, I get a text message with a picture in it, with a headstone. He says, I think this will look great. I said, what? Well, it was meant for his brother-in-law, Jim. And I remember calling him on the phone. I said, hey, Ron, this is Jim. He goes, Jim, I want to crawl into a hole. I said, Ron, I'm actually laughing. I said, I know how you must feel. But that part was really humorous to me. It's just when I came out. Another thing. When I came out of surgery, before I went into surgery, I asked the nurse. I said, "Let me ask you a question. How do you get better? How do you get better? I mean, what's the key to getting out of here?" She goes, "Don't take so many pain meds and walk." Well, 5 hours out of the surgery, I wake up. Probably forgot where I was. I started to get up, and I'm in intensive care. The nurse runs in. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "The nurse said I should get up and walk." She said, "You're in intensive care." I said, okay, so lay down. The next day, 2 6'4" guys and a nurse said, "Get the wise guy, walk him around." I walked around with the night, with the hospital gown on, and the little nurse looks at me. She goes, "We got you." But it was funny. I mean, it was really the fact that I started my mind on humor. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, I realized that I had to get better, and that was the start of it. But teamwork was the key thing. Teamwork was the key thing. Having other people inspire me. And I think as athletes, there's no I in team, You really need to know that you have to have this support. And I had it. And I cherished it. And I'll tell you, another thing I wanted to talk to you about is how friends helped me. Before I did all this, I reached out on social network, Facebook, family, friends, and one of my real good friends, Scott Cutler, he said, "Don't do anything until you talk to my friend Steve Teacott." His wife had gone through it. When I met her, she had had the surgery 5 years earlier. And that was also very supportive, that I had someone that has a success story. And that's very important to when you're trying to get better. So I met her. She introduced me to Dr. Livingstone, and the rest is history. A lot of us have situations where we go through, like, can I have a raise of hands? How many people in the room know someone or had a relative that has had some battle with cancer? Would you raise your hand? Oh my God, it's probably 90%. I was very fortunate to have a father who died of cancer, but he was a character. He was really something else, and I think that's where I got a lot of my fortitude from. He basically, when he was about 65 years old, he used to tell my sisters, "You guys, if anything ever happens to me, please don't feel sorry for me, because I had a blast." And when my father passed away at age 75, he died at 4:30 in the afternoon at my sister's house. But at 12 o'clock, he stood up out of his deathbed. He looked at us all. He said, "Guys, This has been one hell of a ride. At 1 o'clock, he went into a coma, and he passed away at 4:30. But that, I think a lot of this, a lot of where we get our will to win, our will to live, comes from our parents, from our family, and our friends. Last year, when I was not able to play, our team was in Ohio. They won the silver medal, and the calls and the everything that came from everybody was just inspired me. So I got up and I would walk every day. I did my best. I had to blow into a tube to get better. My wife kept on my butt. She says, "You're going to do it. You're going to do it." And when you have that kind of support, it makes life. It makes it easier. So any of you who are out there, and you can embrace someone, you can help someone, do it. Senior Olympics is so important because what happens is if I wasn't a healthy guy going into this, and I've talked to Paul about this, I was a pretty healthy guy going into this. And the fact that I played sports my entire life, I was able to handle this terrible, terrible disease maybe a little easier than someone else. So please bring that message back to your younger friends to get involved in this wonderful organization and keeping yourself active and set an example. It's just very, very important. Just this past year, with myself being out, we had Susan Comagese, who which is the wife of one of our softball players. She had an organ transplant. Freddie Mott, our left fielder, had prostate cancer. We all went through something. From our personal lives, Gino, Gil, Anthony Corrado, they've lost their families, they've lost their wives. And I'm sure they would tell you it's one of the hardest things you ever go through in your entire life. But having teammates, having friends to help you get through these tough times is very, very important. Now, from the inspirational side of things, I was playing softball in Florida. Paul asked me to tell this story. And there was a team that drafted me. Now, the operation was July 31st. The season starts around November. I told the manager, "I don't think you should draft me." He said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I just went through a lot. And, I don't know. I might have to have post-chemotherapy." He said, "Well, I'm going to take a chance on you." I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." So I go to a game. I had, I was basically the doctor when they did the surgery. They cut you open from here to here. They cut you open in your throat. They take your stomach, they reroute it, and they attach. I actually don't have an esophagus anymore. I have a stomach that's rerouted under my heart. They had to move my vocal cords, and they reattached it, and I have metal staples in my throat. So, I wasn't sure, about running or doing anything. But, so I would go to a game, I would get a single, and they'd run for me. They didn't let me play in the field. I had trouble eating. With the new esophagus that you have, it's very difficult to, you're eating a lot of mashed potatoes and this, that, and the other, but you just don't have your strength. Dr. Daniel Lindenberg on December 31st said, "Look, I've got a procedure I'm going to try. I'm going to call a savory dilation." I said, "Do it." So New Year's Eve, in the hospital, does a savory dilation, and that's when I think the miracle occurred, because I was able to eat after that. January about the 15th, I hit a ball over a 300-foot fence. I felt I could always do that. But for me, it was watching the faces of my teammates. The look on their faces just gave me a spiritual lift that you cannot imagine. You can't imagine. The guys that were running for me, I was pinch running for by the end of March. So where I was and where I came, where I got, where it eventually came to was just astonishing to me. I couldn't believe it. I remember going to church before the day before my operation. I even did confession. I just made sure God looked. Most of the stuff I did, I was very young, so really not that bad. But I remember doing that, and that was something that you do reach out. You do reach out to the Lord. You just hope He's there watching you. And when I came back after the operation, they told me I would be on a feeding tube for probably 2 months, average a month, maybe even a year. My friend, Mrs. Teacott in Florida, she was on it a year. I was off it in 10 days. So I think, I do believe in miracles, okay? There's somebody was watching over me. It's my turn to give back. This summer, I played a little bit of softball in Delaware. I was fortunate enough to play against Paul's team. And Gino's team, Gino wasn't there, but we came back and we won the game. I was able to play at a pretty high level, I guess, Paul, right? And Paul asked me to come back and tell your story. The story is so unreal to me that I just have to share it with all of you. I just really wanted to do this, to let you know that if life ever throws you a curveball, and I have a blog on there that I did 3 weeks after. If you go to the Senior Olympic blog, Google my name and put Senior Olympics, I did a blog 3 weeks after this all happened. And I pretty much had this, and I don't have a whole lot of notes, I just wanted to kind of share this with you, and I thought I had it all done until last Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I was involved in a softball game. It went on like any other day. This was a little different. The team was losing 24-17 coming into the 9th inning. Our team scored 20 runs in the 9th inning. Our phones ringing. Yeah, it's even better. 20 runs, and I'm in the dugout before that saying, come on guys, don't give up, we can do this. And lo and behold, we scored 20 runs. We go out to the field for the bottom of the 9th. We have a 13-run lead. The right fielder on the other team has his head down. I walk up to him, I said, you never know. Guess what? They scored 13 runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game 37-37. This is on the internet if you want to look this up. We go into the extra innings. We score 14 runs in the 10th inning. The phones rang. My wife's, where are you? I said, well, I'll be home in a little while. This is earlier. We have a 13-run lead. I'll be right there. We scored 14. They tied it. Game lasted 4 hours. The other team came back as well and scored 12 runs. They had the tying run on first, the winning run at home plate, the line drive. I'm playing left field at the time. I snared the line drive to win the game. But the moral of this story is neither team gave up. Neither team gave up. This was not part of my speech, but this just happened Tuesday, and somebody above made that game happen. The game was 4 hours long. The final score was 51-49. As a matter of fact, the commissioner of the league was astonished at the score. I'm in the dugout telling about not giving up, doing my deal, and I didn't think this was going to happen, and it did. And also, I was very fortunate in the game to hit 2 home runs over the 300-foot fence. So I've done that before, but never have I ever been in a game like that. And it just kind of put a little cherry on the sundae there that I was able to be in such a game. And I can't even begin to tell you what it's like seeing the faces of people when you think about the never giving up. And I'm not going to talk much longer because it's a beautiful day, but I really do want to thank all my teammates, basketball, softball, friends, family, my medical team, my friends in Florida, my friends in Delaware, my sales managers I work for Nationwide Insurance, Brett Landis and Brian Bullock. They were all there for me, getting me through this journey. I constantly have to go back for CAT scans, blood tests, things of that nature. Not everybody is as fortunate as I was coming back like this. And I can honestly tell you, my oncologist, Dr. Teresa DeCesar, when I do my blood work, she goes, what's going on? I said, what do you mean? She goes, I've never seen anything like this. I said, what do you mean? She says, your blood work is great. I said, well, she says, whatever you're doing, or whatever you've done in your life, please share it. And that's what I'm doing today. I want to make sure that I don't think I would have been able to get through this if I hadn't played sports my whole life and stayed healthy. And I'm probably missing a lot of things, but my wife sent me a blog of a kid named Devin Jackson. Might want to write that down. He's a 10-year-old in PA that lost both of his legs to meningitis. 10 years old. So there's a blog on there. There's a video. Kid's dream is to play in the NFL. He scored his first touchdown 2 years after he had his legs amputated, okay, in a youth football game. That's determination. He didn't give up. So all of you today, if you ever, life throws you a curveball, and you feel that you feel defeated, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family. Try to touch others, because you never know what's going to happen. And I really feel that life is kind of like a roller coaster. It goes by pretty fast. It has its ups and downs. You either can laugh and enjoy the ride, or you can get sick and not enjoy it at all. But there's a lot of seats on that roller coaster for your family, your friends, and your teammates. It's sort of like Forrest Gump. Life's like a bunch of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. That's how I got it, by the way. But I really feel that way, that's what life's all about. And I want to just want to thank everybody for asking me to do this. The story is truly remarkable to me anyway. And I hope that it motivates all of you to share with your family, your friends, how important you all are. All you athletes, the younger generation. This gives you can do this a long time. You can do this a long time. And I think the key is not stopping. The key is making sure that you inspire people. It's very important that you never give up, like I've said a few times here today. But other than that, I want to thank Paul, Senior Olympics, and everyone out here in my family for coming up today. And I really appreciate the Lord and how I've been blessed. And just want to thank you all very much.
I think the term he had a tough time getting out to was positive attitude. He's had a positive attitude. I've known Jim for probably 15 years now, and always, and that's the combining of teamwork and the attitude from ourselves is what helped him get through and helps many other people get through.